Hello, I'm Adam Paul Morgan, and thank you for clicking on to what is my thoughts of the Nintendo Switch. Nintendo have come a long way from one of these. Are you excited about this thing? I am, but I wasn't at first. Apologies in advance. I will probably keep calling this thing the NX, but it is called the Nintendo Switch. Ever since E3 this year, nothing... Well, E3, the only sort of thing I cottoned onto the mention of what the Nintendo's new console would be was the Ubisoft presentation of Just Dance 2017 or whatever the thing's called this year, and the presenter of that said it is coming to Nintendo's new system, the NX. So probably since then, every day I have been on internet searches, YouTube, etc., looking for news of the NX, now the Switch. So now I've seen the trailer, I've seen photos of it, I've read up on what officially has been announced. Now, let me tell you the story. I was at work and I did tweet about it yesterday that I couldn't actually watch the trailer at 3 o'clock when it was being streamed or broadcasted, whatever it may be, around the UK. Now, of course, I've seen the trailer, I've seen the photos, and my first noise, and it was one of my superiors at work at the same time, I managed to get the picture up on my phone on our breaks, and the first reaction was, huh? But of course, I've now seen the trailer, I've now read up on it, and I am a bit more excited. But my wife actually said, you don't seem as excited for this thing than you did any other console that has come out in the past. And that was partially true at the time, but I've been thinking about it now. And you know, my wife, when she comes in home from work and she just wants to relax and watch television, that was the sort of promise of the Wii U, where you could take the game onto the control pad, onto the screen, and play it elsewhere. Yes, it was good. Yes, it did work, but it wasn't brilliant at all. Whereas the Switch, it promises to do all sorts of things where you can take the game, you can play it on the big screen, where you can play it on the single screen there, and you can pretty much go anywhere. But of course, the pros and cons of the actual, doing this as well. I wouldn't use the Nintendo Switch on public transport in the West Midlands. No way, because if the console is rumoured to cost around £300, I would not play a game like that on public transport, whatever it may be, because there's a lot of crime in the West Midlands, particularly in the city areas, but that's a whole different story altogether. And most parts of the world as well, you would be very careful playing this device because it's going to be expensive, and you wouldn't play in dodgy areas, would you? No, because that's being common sense. I'm even a bit funny about getting my phone out in public area. I'll just have a look around. If there's dodgy looking people, I keep my phone in the pocket. But of course, about the trailer itself, it probably demonstrated what the potential of this thing is. Also, Breath of the Wild, possibly a new Mario Kart game, a third title game which a lot of people are getting excited about, but me not too excited about that particular game. Breath of the Wild looks fantastic. The graphics wise, as you probably know if you've seen the trailer, doesn't look as good as, say, the other two mainstream consoles out there, but this thing's not, I don't think it's trying to compete with the Xbox One or the PS4 Pro or the Xbox Scorpio, whatever that may be. I don't think it's trying to compete with them at all. It's playing handheld, and let's be honest, Nintendo have dominated the handheld market. Now, of course, you got mobile phones and tablets who are trying to play these games as well, but really, I've played some of these mobile games that you download from app stores or whatever they're called. I don't think they're as good as console gaming, handheld console gamings from Nintendo. I had a PSP. I had one of those years ago. That was good, but I didn't think it was as good as a Nintendo DS and the PS Vista. I did not like that thing at all compared to the 3DS. Why? The games. That was the main thing about any console, is the games. I don't care what the power is or anything like that. If you haven't got good games, the thing's not going to sell, which is my big worry about this Nintendo Switch, that it's not going to have a good starting lineup. It's not going to have a good launch titles, as it were. It needs to have good launch titles, and as people who have had Nintendo consoles since day one, I got the 3DS on day one, I've had the Wii U on day one, they've not really had good launch titles. Okay, the Wii U had Batman, Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed, which I believe Assassin's Creed came out on launch, because I know the other two games did come out at launch. However, people have already played them on other consoles, and Zombie U was good for about 10 minutes. That was it. I didn't really appreciate that game too much, Zombie U. But if it has a good launch lineup, we have a Zelda game coming out for the console, the Breath of the Wild. That is looking to be promising to be one of the best games, and particularly one of the best Zelda games ever made. The third-party titles, again, they've done this with the Wii U and the Wii. They said, yes, we're going to have the big name companies who are going to develop games for it. But are they? You know, we look at the Wii U. I remember watching the trailer for all the games that were going to come out for the console, and they never did. So I'm hoping that there's a new, that, you know, they are going to deliver, they are going to bring these games out, etc, etc. Of course, there's some of the big games. There's two companies who are competing for you to part with their money. You got PlayStation, you got Xbox, but then you got Nintendo, who have dominated the handheld thing. So the games that are really going to be for there, the Mario games, the Mario Kart games, the Legend of Zelda games. You've got the Splatoon, you've got Metroid, you've got Kirby, you've got Super Smash Brothers. There's just some of the Pikmin. I like Pikmin. There's just some of the titles that you will not find anywhere else apart from on a Nintendo console. Of course, okay, you got Mario coming out for Apple stores, possibly Android with Super Mario Run. But I'm now looking forward to this console, but I do have doubts, and a lot of people, a lot of things that I've read, that does have doubts. If it can deliver what it promised in the trailer, and it comes out with some good first-party games, and good launch third-title games at launch, I'm very happy for this. Now, the actual machine itself, I hope it's got a good battery, because there was a bit of a grumble between gamers about the battery on the 3DS, and a bit of a grumble with the battery of the control pad for the Wii U. If it can just deliver on these things as well, have a good online service as well, better than the Wii U. A lot of people hated it. I thought it was okay, but I still think it could be improved. If they can just nail these things there, the Nintendo Switch is gonna absolutely possibly dominate gaming. I don't think it'll be graphical capabilities of the other two big ones out there, particularly with the upgrades that are going up, but really, when you think about it, if they've got good games, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. So I do hope Nintendo can actually deliver. If they do, you've got yourself a customer for this new console, Nintendo. Yes, and please keep the price down as well, because the wife won't be too happy if I spend too much money on it. But if it's around £300 with a launch game, probably if it comes out with a Breath of the Wild, oh, that is just going to sell out no end. Get my terminology, yeah. It's going to be sold out, and it's going to be like when the Wii first came out as well. You could not get your hands on one of those things at launch. I had a great job trying to get one of them. So yeah, I'm going to try to sign up to pre-order some from various or notifications when this thing comes out. And I'm just hoping this thing comes out with a game as well, because hopefully they do. I always look for a good deal when buying a new console. I like to get the console with a few games thrown in as well. So I just hope Nintendo can do that. And of course, one thing I'm particularly looking forward to about the Nintendo Switch, if I'm fully sold, I'm not 100% sold yet, but at the moment I will probably get one, but I need to be that definitely. What will get me definitely sold is, as I say, launch games. If you got a good lineup of games, I will buy. Not a problem. What do you think about the old Nintendo code name, the NX? It is now called the Switch, as I keep needing to call it. And why didn't they use the Will Smith song in the trailer? Anyway, I'm Adam Paul Morgan, and thank you for clicking on.